So here we are in the Church of St John the Evangelist in Oxford, just opposite where Roger Bannister did his 4-minute mile. So there you go. We're actually doing a 55-minute oratorio over 3 days, so we're a little bit slower than Roger Bannister. We've been recording with this wonderful Lanyer Ensemble of players and with the choir of Christ Church Cathedral Oxford, of course, with Stphen conducting, who are superbly prepared for this task, and with 2 soloists from the 16, Mark DeBell and Kirsty Hopkins, who are wonderful.
Dropping from the hills of the morning to where the cricket...
It's great to have such a high caliber choir behind us as well. It feels nice to be able to offer ourselves as a role model for these children who are singing so brilliantly.
Yeah, the trebles are just incredible. They're so on it and so nice to work with and so professional. They've been brilliant, haven't they?
I had been thinking for a while of maybe having a go at this concept of the Passion. What is the metaphor of this story? What does it mean? It actually, as far as I can tell, means that his ideas, what he stood for, what he said, what he wanted to put out there, survived spectacularly after his death. And I would love it if this new Passion also had themes in it which resonated with people from very different backgrounds and faiths.
The Holy Church, oh, in those rich times.
I've always loved his music. From the first time I commissioned you to write a mass for Christ Church. Yeah. You know, he just writes so wonderfully for choirs, not like anything else that I encounter in our music making.
There's a very strong message, I think it's very powerful for our times, of just how awful men can be to each other and just how good they can be as well. And I think that's what this work is really about for me.
I have definitely not followed the St John St Matthew Passion pattern. If you're going to do one in 2018, you have to have decided what it is you're adding to this. You can't just repeat Stainer's Crucifixion, Part 2, the sequel. I wanted to take the basic shape and the basic themes and find new poetry, well, not newly written necessarily, but poetry from English language poetry from across the centuries that somehow reflected upon that or observed something about those themes, so that you could hear when I'm composing, but also as a member of an audience or a congregation, hear these ideas afresh, or with new parenthesis, I suppose. And in fact, I lucked out in finding this text version of the Passion written by someone called Emilia Lanyer, née Bassano, who was a friend and a colleague, we are pretty sure, of Shakespeare and of Elizabeth I. She was a remarkable literary woman of the Tudor period, who wrote what is thought to be the first published piece of work by a female poet in the English language, which is a long, epic verse study and story of the Passion, but from a woman's perspective. I then thought I would try, if I could, find female poets to go in between for the in-between sections of that narrative. So that was my overarching aim.
From a poetry about slavery right the way up to Mary Magdalene and Pilate's wife, Polish nun who helped a whole load of Jewish children escape in the Second World War, and somehow they all fit together absolutely beautifully.
It's deceptively simple. So you look at it and you think, you know, when you first see the score, and you think, oh, I recognise a lot of these chords. But then when you go beneath the surface, not far beneath the surface, you see this extraordinary imagination at work in the sound world, and also in the sense of how harmony works, I think, which is totally unique in my experience. I don't think there's any other composer who sounds like Howard.
I am the captain of